Welcome to Pod 4 Journal Club. Today, we're diving into a really cool paper that asks a question that feels like it's straight out of science fiction. Can an AI actually learn to read its opponent's mind in a high-stakes game?
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at what the researchers were trying to figure out. Then, we'll dive into the pretty clever poker game they set up to test it. We'll get to the results, which are honestly wild, then talk about what the study didn't cover, and wrap up with what this could mean for the future of social AI.
Right, so the big question researchers were wrestling with was this. Could an AI develop social smarts all on its own? You know, not by having a bunch of rules hard-coded into it, but just by interacting, learning on the fly.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This question has totally jumped from movies to the lab. How can we tell if an AI really gets what's going on in someone else's head? Like what they're thinking, what they're about to do.
So there's actually a name for this in psychology. It's called theory of mind. It's basically our built-in ability to guess what other people are thinking, feeling, or planning. It's why we can work together, why we can anticipate someone's next move, and yeah, even why we know how to bluff. It's pretty much the foundation of all social interaction.
But here's the problem. The way we've been testing AI for this stuff, it's kind of like giving it flashcards. You know, simple, one-off questions. It just doesn't capture the messy, dynamic back and forth of a real conversation or a game, which is where social skills are actually built.
So to get around that flashcard problem, the researchers needed a better testing ground, something more strategic, more fluid. And their solution? Honestly, it's brilliant. They set up a high-stakes poker game for AIs.
And the setup was actually pretty straightforward. They took 3 AI agents and sat them down at a virtual Texas Hold'em table. They let them play 100 hands in a row. But here's the clever part. They methodically gave them or took away 2 key abilities, memory and skill, just to see what would change. What they did was create 4 different scenarios. Think of it like a grid. On one axis, you have memory. Can the AI remember past hands or not? On the other axis, you have skill. Does it know poker strategy or is it a complete beginner? This gave them 4 groups to compare, 1 with everything, 1 with nothing, and 2 in the middle. And check this out. This is what the researchers got to see. It's their spectator view of the game. You can see the cards, the chips, but look closer at those little speech bubbles. That's the jackpot. Those are the AI's private notes about its opponents written in real time. It's like we're literally reading its mind as it plays. Okay, so now we get to the results. And honestly, what they found was just wow. I'm not being dramatic here. This is one of those moments in science where the data is so clean, so clear, it just makes your jaw drop.
This one graph says it all. Seriously, look at the 2 lines soaring upwards. Those are the AIs that had memory. Over the course of the game, they just get better and better at modeling their opponents. And then, look at the 2 lines flatlining at the bottom. Those are the AIs without memory. They learned absolutely nothing. 0, the entire game.
Statistically, the difference between the groups was a perfect 1.0. Now, you almost never see a number like that in real research. It means the separation was total. There was no gray area. If an AI had memory, it learned. If it didn't, it didn't. End of story. Memory wasn't just a nice-to-have, it was the only thing that mattered. And if we drill down a bit, the story gets even clearer. The AIs with memory, they didn't just develop this theory of mind, they used it. They started bluffing strategically based on their read of the other players. The AIs without memory? Nope, nothing. No advanced thinking, no strategic bluffs. And we don't even have to guess. We can see it in their own words. This is a direct quote from one of the AI's private notes. It's thinking, okay, this guy has picked up on my aggressive betting pattern, so I need to switch things up and play it cool. I mean, get this. It's not just thinking about its opponent. It's thinking about what its opponent is thinking about it. That's like social chess, and it's happening inside a machine. And here's another plot twist. It turns out you didn't even need to teach the AI how to play poker. The AIs that went in totally blind developed these social models just as well as the ones that have been trained on strategy. That's huge. It suggests this ability to learn about others isn't some niche skill. It might be a fundamental property of these AIs. The experts were just a little better at putting that knowledge into action.
Now, of course, good science is also about knowing what you don't know, and the researchers were super transparent about the limitations of their study.
For one, they only tested this on one family of AI models, Anthropic's Claude. They also didn't put it head-to-head with any human players. Plus, the number of experiments was on the smaller side. So these are all really important things for other researchers to look into next.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? Because the implications for where AI is heading, well, they're pretty mind-bending.
The researchers introduced this really powerful concept they call agentic interpretability. And what it means is that for the first time, we can just read the AI's strategy. In plain English. Think about old game-playing AIs. They were total black boxes. We'd see them make some genius move and have no clue why. Here, we can actually see the why. We can read their thought process.
Now, you could get into a big philosophical debate about whether the AI truly understands any of this, but the authors make a great point. They basically say, regardless of what you call it, the behavior is real, it's effective, and it emerged all on its own from one simple thing, giving the AI a memory.
And that leaves us with one last kind of chilling thought. This experiment was like a window, right? A rare chance to peek inside an AI's mind as it was learning to be social. It showed us that just one simple ingredient, memory, was enough to kickstart this process. So, what happens when these AIs are out in the world, developing these skills on their own, and we can no longer look through that window? What happens when we can't read their poker face anymore?